Hello everyone, this is part 2 of my resin tutorial. A few things before we start. If you haven't watched the first part, then definitely go over and check that one out. This video is going to be talking about some of the things I do after I've done the resin pour, after I've demolded. I'm missing quite a few steps in this. There's many different things that you can do. This is the kind of standard thing that I end up doing. I also haven't included posting things, listing them for sale or something. So those things, if you have any questions about it, then let me know down in the comments. And the second thing is that I'm sorry that my microphone isn't great. My actual good podcast mic is not with me at university, so you're going to have to put up with this audio. Sorry. So the first thing that I do is drill holes in things that need holes drilling in them. You'll need to drill a little hole if you're putting a little hook on something to turn it into jewellery. Some things will already have the hole built in, but most things you'll have to drill it yourself. I have a little handheld drill. This one is just from Wish. It kept falling apart, so I have super glued it together. But normally you'd be able to change the size of the drill bit, but no longer can I. The later you leave this, the harder it'll be. So I left these quite late, and the resin had gotten really hard. Resin takes about 3 days to sort of fully cure, and then it'll take another, even up to a month to be as hard as it's going to get. So the longer you leave it, the longer this is going to take. This is one of the most difficult parts of the process. It is very time consuming and I find it quite painful. But other people might find it easier if your hands work better than mine. And once you've drilled the hole in, I put a little dot of super glue, and then I put the hook in, and I use pair of tweezers to twist it in to make sure it is in there as tight as it can be. So a bit of an easier part of the process is gluing on certain things. In this case, I'm gluing mainly pinbacks onto the back of pieces. I use super glue for this. Some people use resin. I use super glue because I think it's a little bit safer. But it's up to you, whatever you want to use. I haven't found issues with it before, especially using this resin because it binds quite well to it. But everyone has their own preference. With this, I'm being as careful as I possibly can not to get glue on any of the fixtures, because obviously I don't want to super glue the pin closed, and also to just keep the super glue where it is needed, not to put too much on, because you end up with this sort of grey mark left behind of it, which is, you can clean it off, but I'd just like to avoid that if I can. And also you want to put enough on to make sure that it sticks. So this is definitely a case of practice. You also want to get it in the middle. I don't measure it, some people do. I just eyeball it, and it's working out for me okay so far. So in this clip I am painting some things. Now a lot of resin molds come with these little indents in them. Some people like to paint them, some people don't. I paint some of them, I don't paint others. These paint pens are acrylic paint pens, and they are from Poundland actually, and these are the only two colours they had, gold and silver, but I'm happy with those ones. They take a lot of layers. Basically the way that you do it is you fill it, the lines in with as much ink as you can, and then you clean the excess off with acetone, and then you repeat several times until it is as opaque as you want it to be. You have to be really careful to get as much of the paint off as possible, because it can smudge a lot, and it's not the easiest to fix, so you have to be quite careful and quite patient with it. And then I paint over the whole thing in a lacquer just to make sure that the paint stays on. I think it would stay on anyway, I just want to double check. You can do this before or after you do the fastenings. Sometimes I do it before, sometimes I do it after. Depends on what I'm feeling that time. Now in this last clip I am photographing everything. It took me quite a while to get the photographs right, but basically what I have is a bunch of wallpaper samples as my backdrop. I have a light box from Amazon, and I have some little cushions also from Amazon. And I sort of have this, I take the same 4 photos of everything, one of them with a coin for scale. I think I do close up, normal photo, front and back, and then the front one is the one with the scale, and that is just to make sure that all the photos are consistent and it's easy to sort through and it's quick. I know some people like to take much more fancy photos, but the nature of my business means that I have a lot of one-off items, like hundreds of one-off items, so it would just be too difficult for me to plan a photo shoot individually for every single thing. Normally this would be easier if I didn't have my hand in a glove, but that is because I had a bit of an infection, and I wanted to obviously make sure that I didn't spread it, so my hands are always clean when I do this anyway, when I handle the products, but in this case I just wanted an extra layer of protection, so I had gloves on. At this point everything is already packaged up in their little bags with their business card. I go through all of the things I have to photograph and match them up with a backdrop based on my Depop. If you have a look at my Depop, you'll see that certain things have certain backdrops just to create a sort of nice theme, and then I photograph all of them on my video camera. I often up the contrast slightly because I think it brings the colours out a bit better, but it's really personal choice in playing around with the photos. I then upload them onto Google Drive and put them onto my phone, edit them very slightly, usually just cropping them, maybe changing the colours if I think the photos don't truly represent the colour of the actual product, and then listing them to Depop. And that is the last bit of footage that I have for you. The rest is up to you where you want to list it, writing descriptions and things like that. So I'm going to leave you guys here. If you have any requests or questions, then let me know down in the comments. New videos every Wednesday, like and subscribe and all that jazz, and I will see you next week. Bye.